Namaste and welcome back to you. In our podcast series with Dr. Monica Prabhakar called The Science Behind the Science, we are delving into what lies inside our Vedas. And today we are opening up a different vast chapter of what popularly is known as mathematics and we call Ganit Shastra. Welcome, Monica. Welcome to today's episode.
Namaste to all our lovely viewers. And hello, Nidhi. I'm so very happy and excited to be here again talking about my favorite topic, mathematics.
So, when we are speaking about mathematics, what is the background of mathematics? How did it originate?
If you talk about the origin of mathematics in India, I think you will never be able to find the origin because, again, with very strong conviction, I would say that it is timeless. If you go to find the roots of mathematics, you will find it in Jyotish Shastra. And you will find it in the temples around India. In the southern states of India, see the precise geometry. Even in Gujarat, you go and see the wells, the water wells. All this was not possible without mathematics. We can say Jyotish Shastra and the temple construction technique from the Agamas. All these are Upvedas. All the sciences come from the Vedas. So we can say mathematics, Ganit Shastra is as old as the Vedas. And Vedas, we say Aparisha. All this knowledge is as old as the earth, as the universe.
Or the creation itself.
A creation of the universe. So you will never be able to find how old is a certain concept. Yes.
Interesting. Now, when we speak about the modern day mathematics, is that also then originating from the Vedas? What is the origin of that?
Of course. I think our students, we have never been told about our own great mathematicians. Even if you touch upon even if you know about the mathematicians of India, you will find out that all modern day concepts that we have been learning, everything, you'll find in Indian scriptures. If we try to go in a structured way, I think we will talk about the mathematicians first, our great mathematicians who have taken birth in this land of Bharat. We do not know much about the prehistoric times, BC. We are, although the origin of mathematics is completely linked with the Vedic knowledge, but the written record that we have, we can start with Aryabhat. Now, Aryabhat was a great mathematician. He was a great astronomer. And he was there in India in the 5th and the 6th century. He is now been also called the father of mathematics because if you keep studying about Aryabhat more and more, you'll find that you will not find a person who was of equal caliber as Aryabhat in the field of mathematics. And to my surprise, I found out that we Indians actually do not know much about him, but the Westerners know more about him. And they have given him more credit than what we Indians have given. The reason being that we do not know, we are unaware of his greatness. So how do you know about his greatness is if you just look for the scriptures that he has written. We have major 3 books that have been written by Aryabhat. The first major being Aryabhatya, the second being Arya Siddhant, and we have an Arabic translation of Aryabhat's work, that is Al-Daf. And the latter two, Arya Siddhant and Al-Naf, they are not present. We do not find them now because they are completely lost. How do we say that they are Aryabhat's work? Because many of the Persians and the Greek scriptures, mathematical texts, have the reference of these 2 texts written by Aryabhat. So in the references, you will find these 2 texts. If you go through the ancient Persian mathematic texts, Greek mathematics texts, they have given much credit to the works of Aryabhat. What has been preserved completely till today is Aryabhatya. So Aryabhatya is that great text which has been referred throughout the world. And in India, if you Google today, you will find just the translations. The most popular translation that comes up is by Mr. Walter Clark. So he was a professor at Harvard University. He was a Sanskrit professor. The translation that we find is in the year 1930.
Wow.
Professor of Sanskrit translating Aryabhatya. And I was just scrolling through this the PDF that I got, and in this, Mr. Clark has mentioned clearly that he has not understood many of the concepts because of the constraint of the language, Sanskrit language. And he has said that it is high time that Indians understand the importance of this book and they help out in translating the book. Many mathematical concepts are still untranslated. So we have a translation by an Indian also, Prabhu Chandra Sen Gupta has also translated it. But then again, we need to have a very, very strong collaboration between the people who know Sanskrit and the mathematicians. Only then we'll get a good translation of it.
Right.
But I think our thinking has not gone that far till now because we hardly know about Aryabhatiya. If we are able to know about the importance of this book, only then we would, understand, we would realize the importance of translating it to such an extent.
Right.
So the major translations that we have is by Mr. Walter Clark from the Howard University.
Now, these books that you're mentioning, the ones which have been translated, are we saying that the actual mathematic concepts, even the ones which are being studied in the modern day, are present in these in Aryabhatiya, which is the translated version also?
I will recommend that all our viewers just download the PDF online, just search for it and just go through it. And you'll find complex equations, mathematical formulae. People who are not even aware of mathematics, even they will find some mathematics that they have been studying in high school, plus one, plus two. They will find it there. So broadly, we have this Aryabhatiya. It has been divided into 4 major chapters.
Okay.
So if you just go through the content of these chapters, you'll find that you will be able to relate all modern mathematics with this book.
Yeah. So when Aryabhat would have written it way back in the 5th or the 6th century, how big is the book? How has he written it?
Okay. Yes, this is a right question here. I would call Aryabhatiya again. It is a masterpiece of a concept called aphorism, which we have
Can-
already discussed in Sanskrit.
Yes, you
So
did.
aphorism, yes, huge mathematical concepts that are still being explained up till today are there in just 121 shlokas of Aryabhatiya. Only 121 shloks, and that can be just printed in about a few pages. It is that small a book.
Wow.
Here I would mention that the shloks, again, as we did the Akshara Sankhya system in the Sanskrit, that Akshara Sankhya system is completely adopted in this book. So the first chapter, he is dealing with how to write numbers in the form of shloks.
Wow.
So he's giving the Akshara Sankhya system. So that is why we said that this knowledge is supposed, all Vedic knowledge used to broadly be called as Gupt Vidya. Why Gupt Vidya? Because a person who doesn't have any understanding of Sanskrit will not be able to understand a word of these books. So that is why it is just for the learned. So only the learned pick up the concepts and use them properly. It should not be misused.
We did touch upon this last time in our
Yes.
earlier
Yes.
discussion. Yeah.
So here, just 121 shlokas,
Mm.
and it is covering huge mathematical concepts. Yes.
When you say mathematical concepts, then we are talking about things like differentiation, integration, calculus, trigonometry, geometry, all of that. Is that what you're saying?
Broadly, all of that. Broadly, all of that, whatever you have mentioned. So there are broadly 4 chapters in the book.
Okay.
The first 2 chapters, which are the Gitika Pada, Pad is the chapter, Gitika Pada, and the second thing is the Ganit Pada. Now, Gitika Pada and Gitika Pada would contain how to write numbers, basic mathematics. Very basic mathematics. The main, it is considering, it is also giving you the Akshara Sankhya system, basics. And the second, Ganit Pada, it is giving you the major mathematical concepts, the geometrical principles, the arithmetic progressions. See, all these mathematical concepts, you must have heard of them. The arithmetic progressions, then sum of series, sum of square of series, indeterminate equations, all kind of foundations of algebra. It is there in Ganit Pada, the second chapter of Aryabhat. And just means it is very hard to think the original text because I could not actually find the original text. How was all this written in the form of shlokas? I fail to understand. So, and the next
These,
other
I
two,
have a question here. These translations that you are mentioning, do they carry the original shlok or not?
somewhere here and there, they carry the original shlokas.
Okay.
but it is very hard for me and you to understand. We
Hmm.
have to just dig into Sanskrit to understand all these concepts. And it would
Undoubtedly.
be, while I was just doing all this research, I was just wondering that if somehow our mathematicians and the Sanskrit scholars would get together, we might be innovating many mathematical concepts still from Aryabhata only.
Wow.
Yes. And the next two chapters, should we talk about the next two chapters now? So the
Yes,
first two
please.
chapters basically is dealing with the concepts,
Hmm.
the mathematics, basic geometry, basic algebra. And the next two chapters is Kal Kriya Pada and Gorla Pada. Now, these Kal is Samay.
Time.
It is time. So the Kal Kriya Pada, here comes his astronomy. So he's applying all the mathematical concepts that have been discussed earlier. Here he's applying all this to astronomy, to know astronomy better. How the various calculations that are done to calculate the position of the sun, the moon, the position of the planets, and the time taken for all their revolutions and rotations. So all this is in Kal Kriya Pada.
Interesting.
And there is also time calculation, very precise, Carl. It is time calculation and very precise calculations of the days, the months, the weeks. All
Wow.
this is given. So I think the basis of the Panchang, you understand the Panchang. The Panchang is how everything throughout the year, how are we going, which the position of the sun and the moon and the various stars throughout the year is all given in the Panchang. So the basis of Panchang, that means you will find it here because he's giving you the details of the time measurement. Then the next chapter is even more astonishing. It is Gorala Pada. Gorala means something round. And so he is giving basically all the planets are supposed to be round. And he is giving you how to find out the construct the longitudes of all these planets. So
Wow.
it's not only Earth. It's not only Earth. It is the longitudes of all the planets up till Jupiter, Mars, Jupiter, I think even Saturn.
What do you
The
mean
longitude,
longitudes?
the longitude, how are we measuring the position, the various positions on the planets with the help of longitudes. You understand longitudes in terms of Earth.
Yeah.
Similarly, they have been able to construct the longitudes of all the other planets also. See how far their knowledge is going. See, all this they are trying to make you understand in these chapters. The knowledge is all this cannot be done without calculus, without trigonometry, without huge knowledge of numbers. Cannot be done.
I think the word simply is astronomical.
Yes, yes. So means if you will be surprised, anybody will be surprised if you go into the details of all this. So as you asked that, does modern, whatever we are learning today, does it have has its roots there? Everything is having, all concepts of mathematics are covered in this small book, Aryabhatiya. So, and I would like to mention here one more thing is that Aryabhatiya, since we are just also talking about origin, Aryabhatiya is a book that has been, it's a complete understanding of a book, a major book, that is Surya Siddhant. So Surya Siddhant actually is a text, is a great astronomical text that is timeless. So we do not have it in India now.
Surya
And
Siddhant is written by whom?
Surya Siddhant was not written by anybody. This knowledge was given to, as it is, it was heard, was given by God Son himself. This is what has been mentioned. There is no writer of Surya Siddhant.
Mhm.
And all that is mentioned in Aryabhatiya is from Surya Siddhant. It is a Parashya,
Got
not
it.
created by. So the basic
Right.
text is Surya Siddhant. So you can see how wide Surya Siddhant is.
Mm.
And from Surya Siddhant has come the major books of Aryabhatiya that we have today, that we can refer to today. And because of his greatness, Aryabhat, because of his great understanding of mathematics, the people from Persia, from Greek, the Arabian countries, they have mentioned, he was actually God for him, for all of them, for the mathematicians there. because of his knowledge. And he was referred to as Al Arj Bahar there. And in great esteem, he was held in the Arabic countries.
The
Yes.
references that you're saying that they find in Persia and the Greek books and mentions over there about Aryabhat, then these would have come to India during the time when Nalanda and these universities were in their full
See,
glory. Would have
actually,
studied here.
we had great universities
Right.
from the first century itself up till the 11th century. You will find
Mm.
references of huge universities in India.
Mm.
And we can talk about the Nalanda University. So huge research in all subjects, including mathematics, was done here. And people were coming. There was a lot of exchange of knowledge between the West, the Middle East countries, and India.
And Aryabhat is
The
connected
and
with any one of these
Aryabhat's knowledge,
universities?
Aryabhat was well known in the Western countries, well known figure in the Western countries. World renowned he was at that time. So there was a lot of his books were being read, and you can't say that the Greeks were not doing anything. Mathematics was equally being developed in Greece also, but there was a lot of exchange of knowledge, and he was the god of mathematics. Aryabhat was a god of mathematics at that time.
Now we are speaking about Aryabhat uh, being present in this land around the 5th, 6th century. Till the modern day now, who all have contributed and how many other mathematicians do we know of in our country?
If we go chronologically, we can have that we after Aryabhat, he was in the sixth century. Uh, Contemporary, we have many more mathematicians. The major among them are Varamihira.
Mhm.
So Varamihira, he was in from the sixth century, and he was basically based at Ujjain. So all of us, I think most of us are aware of the importance of Ujjain. It was the astronomical center of India. And there were many astronomical laboratories there because time was measurement. The importance of Ujjain was time measurement. So
Mahakal.
time measurements, yes, Mahakal temple stands as a testimony to that.
Mm.
And we have all kinds of time measurements were done from Ujjain. Major laboratories were there. And all of them were not only astronomers, they were basically mathematicians. So I think mathematics and astronomy were synonymous at that time. Every astronomer was a mathematician.
Mm.
Today, all the people who are learning about Jyotish Shastra are taking everything from the software. Software is doing everything for them. Earlier, we had this help of the software. Any person who knew Jyotish had to be a good mathematician. Without mathematics, you could not do Jyotish Shastra at all.
Mm. Well, it's become
Yes.
very convenient for all of us in the modern day just to put in the key in the details and you get the entire
Yes.
kundli prepared by the software as you're saying.
Earlier, nobody used to, you had to be very, very good in your concepts, basic understanding of mathematics in order to even go and touch Jyotish Shastra. So,
It's no
Jyotish
joke.
Shastra also basically consists of three parts. We have Ganit Shastra there, Ganit Jyotish, we have your Falit and the Samhita. Here you have the Ganit part is basically the calculation part. Calculating the position of the stars, the sun, the moon, the planets with respect to Earth.
Even the nakshatras.
Calculation of time. So how can you do that without mathematics? And see, Jyotish Shastra has existed. Jyotish Shastra is one of the Upvedas. It has existed since the ever. It is from the Vedas. So mathematics has been there since ever. And the precision with which the predictions were made earlier, you can imagine how precise they were in their mathematical calculations. Yes. So Varamira, he was basically a follower of Aryabhat. And what he did is he has improved the sine tables, trigonometry. Sine tables given by Aryabhat were improved by Varamihira.
Wow.
Mhm. See the kind of research they used to do?
Mm.
Serious kind of research work they used to do. And he has given the modern version of what is known as a Pascal's triangle. Now, if you go to the origin of the Pascal's triangle, you will find it in the Chand Shastra given by Pingala Rishi. People have taken the concepts, all these mathematicians that we are talking about, They have taken the concepts from the Vedas and they have built in their own theory. They have worked, they have spent their lifetimes working on all this and taken the concepts forward. In the 6th century itself, we have the great Brahmagupta. So, among his work, if we just highlight what Brahmagupta has done, so he has given the length of the year very precisely. So, the length of the year that he has been mentioned by Brahmagupta is 365 days, 6 hours, 12 minutes, 9 seconds. See how precise they were. And here I want to add one more thing, that if we go through all these texts, we will find equal number of texts which have also been written on how to correct the errors that come up from time to time. When they are studying the astronomy, when you study the mathematics and astronomical texts, they have mentioned that with time, these errors will come in calculation because of the difference in the movements of the planets. And how to correct these, how to make corrections with time. There are scriptures written on that also. Error correction. Many scriptures you find on error correction.
You'd be able to
See
write
the precision.
scriptures only when you have that kind of knowledge that this with time some shifts can happen in
Yes.
the rotation and revolution of the planets. Interesting.
Yes. And here I want to mention one more thing is that Aryabhatiya, many of the people thought that the Indians at that time, Indians, the people from the West, they were thinking that Indians were maybe imagining the earth to be fixed and not rotating or not revolving around the sun. And they were thinking that the sun was revolving. They are saying that the sun is revolving and the earth is not revolving. But they did not know how deep the knowledge was. Our concept of astronomy is completely geostationary. So we are very intelligent. The Bharatiyas have been very intelligent because we are seeing everything from a fixed position on Earth. And when we fix ourselves, we see everything moving. So everything in astronomy is relative motion. So how much they would be knowing about relativity, you can just imagine. Everything is relative motion. So we are finding out the speed of the sun relative to the earth, position of all the other planets relative to the earth and relative to the sun. You can get very confused if you go into the details of it. But it is relative position and geostationary concept that we follow.
Just for the understanding of the concept, that they would have created calculation based on geostationary, but they were fully aware that the earth moves around the sun.
Yes, they were fully, they are even aware that the sun is moving along with all the planets. Yes, along the Dhruv Tara. They were aware of this. There is a mention of this. There is a mention in our scriptures about how Hanuman is requesting Lord Sun to give him the knowledge. Siddhi son is saying that he doesn't have time because he's moving all the time. He can't stop at any place and just, sit down and give knowledge. And Hanumanji is saying that there is no problem. I will move along with you wherever you go. And in one full revolution, he gets that knowledge from the sun.
It goes even interesting than that. So the sun says that if you move along with me, I will have to look towards you, whereas my direction is further. He said, doesn't matter, I will come in front of you and I will move backwards. So Hanumanji is in front of him and he moves backwards and the sun goes on to its path.
Yes.
Amazing.
So we were away. See the knowledge that we had. And means they were, it was like they were, it is mentioned, I found this in Aryabhatiya. They have said that maybe the Indians don't know that the earth is moving. and see the depth of what we already knew of. And here I would mention that many people who are following Jyotish, they would be understanding about retrograde planets. Retrograde, we call grah vakri ho gaya. So आजकल Mars vakri hai, आजकल Jupiter vakri hai. So these are retrograde planets. What is retrograde? Planets is that it is not that they start moving in the opposite direction. Can this happen? That the planet suddenly starts moving in the opposite direction? No. It is relative motion. Relatively, when you are viewing it with respect to the sun and the other planets, it is observed that it has, it starts going in the opposite direction.
Seemingly so.
It is, yes. And this, see the kind of calculations that it would involve when you have to study the relative motion and you find that the planet has become retrograde. they have also mentioned when, means they already know when the planet is going to get retrograde in future. Can this be done without mathematics? Without calculus, can it be done? Without trigonometry, can it be done? It cannot be.